Good day, good love, good light. Illuminators, way showers, guides of guides, guardians of Gaia, earth angels, ancestors, physical and non-physical beings. Welcome. Welcome all of you. It is once again in deep, divine grace and gratitude and honor that we join you once again today. For this, I don't even know what to call these hangouts, these these explorations. We've come
gatherings for sharing.
Gatherings for sharing. I love that a lot. So that's kind of a new name, if you want. My name is Wendy. If you're new to my channel, I'm Wendy Wolf. This is Dave Yellen, and my channel, Languages of Lights, I've had for about 6 years now. I've got over 1,000 videos, lots of stuff to share over the years, lots of my journey. I started a website, so I don't know, about a couple years ago. A lot of people asked me once I started making my videos, primarily channeling information through the lens and through nature, through Gaia, explaining how all things are connected, how when we connect with nature, we connect with more of all that we are. And it just opened up all of all of this information, connections to information, guidance, things I can only begin to explain to all of you. And so over the years, I've just done the best that I can to share all of this information the way that it comes through, the way that it has come through. Thank you to all of you who have been sharing my journey from the very beginning. So many of you have even sent me private messages recently. And I wanted to thank all of you. And whether it's been all these years or a day, I cannot tell you the humility and the joy that I have received and the gifts from the sharing of my sharing to you and your sharing back to me. And through putting myself out there, people have wanted to know, well, what about, I want to know more about your journey and light languages, and how do you activate it? How do you receive information? I told Dave, I haven't really shared my symbols in a long time, galactic symbols. I've been drawing them and sharing them for years. Information just started pouring through. And so the biggest message for all of you has been in all these videos and all of these sharings and all of these events that we've been doing, is to understand information is always coming through, and this is who we are naturally. And I wanted to really quick say hello to Beverly before I get too started. I just wanted to say hi to her. She's been in several of our live events and so many beautiful synchronicities. We've become really good friends over these last, gosh, it's been years now, it seems, hasn't it? God, and I realized too that it was because of me doing it scared, putting myself out there, that this is how we find our tribe, our family, our soul families, our galactic connections, who we are, understanding what we're doing here and why we're here, and what is the human, and what is all this stuff about ETs and channeling and hybrid races and hybrid children, and what does all this have to do with anything? And so it's just, there's so much, it's all about open contact and connecting with all of ourselves.
And opening contact.
And that's really what this has all been about, is how did all this stuff open up to me? How can I share my process? Even that, I want to start with a weird synchronicity. There's something that I've been saying for a long time, and I learned it from Abraham Hicks, channeled through Esther Hicks. She was channeling a being named Theo, and I came across this saying, and I wrote it in my book at the beginning of my journey, and it really applies. And I say it aloud a lot, and in my meditations, and you can put your name in there, I see and draw to me through divine love those beings who seek enlightenment through my process. The sharing will elevate us both now. And the being was Theo. Dave just brought some candy home, some chocolate, beautiful dark chocolate, yum, yum. And the company is Theo. I was actually going to grab the chocolate, but it doesn't matter. It's just the reminder of being in that energy. And much of what's opened up to me the last few days, the last few weeks, the last few months, in the events that we've shared with Dave on Goddess Fridays. Beverly was a part of those. Wednesdays with Wendy, exploring, all of these sharings that we've been doing for all of these years has been just because I'm doing what I love, because it excites me. And then people started asking, can you do sessions? Will you do sessions? And the funny thing is that I was guided to share today, Dave even, that's how we met. Was I was doing YouTube. I had my YouTube channel, and he wanted to just have a conversation, book a session, if you will. And I really didn't even have a website or anything yet. And your words to me, I think almost verbatim, were something about don't let money come between, let's just hang out.
Define the friendship.
Define the friendship. Is that what you said? And so the funny thing is now we've come full circle several years later. And it's been 2018, right? See, I'm losing track already. And
what is time?
What is time? There is no time, as we create time here on earth. And it's funny because that's sort of how the whole thing started, and how I've come full circle in how I do my sessions now. And that's part of what I wanted to share. Was it's kind of funny, or people are a little confused now. When they go to my website, all the information is right here in the description of all of my videos. Says the same thing as it says on my website, languagesoflights.com. Thank you for all of you for visiting. And it's just by voluntary exchange. Whether you want to donate money one time, I've got Dave set up where you could do a monthly thing. It equals, even the largest one equals the price of one session, what I used to charge. I just realized that if I'm actually following the formula that I've learned, and I'm walking and I'm talking my walk and walking my talk, I have to understand, I have to believe that I will always have everything I need to do, what I need to do, when I need to do it, and I do. And because of that, and because of my belief in that, I am actually created the reality. I've created that reality where now I can do this. And so I was able to build a website, do all those things that I believed that I needed the money for. And yet at the end of the day, now it's on a voluntary basis. And yet I will say to you, it's about what I've received in these last several months and years has been the show and tell I want to give you guys, that's coming up in one of my videos, is the sharing of the gifts that I have received that are non-monetary. I am still reeling from a gift that I've received. I'm afraid to even talk about it because I don't want to cry. And I just got it this morning, and I'll be sharing with you guys. And I'm telling you, this is what we're talking about. It's the dedication and the love and the appreciation from this person. And I don't want to let it out of the bag until I share it with all of you the way I want to share it with all of you. And I don't think I've ever been so humbled. And I have to say that all of this and all of you and Beverly sitting here today is humility beyond words. I cannot even explain to you what my sharing, just doing what I like and love, has given me in return. And so much has come through because of the vibration that I'm in now. And this is part of what I wanted to share with all of you today too, is because of this energy, because of this vibration, because of really doing what we love and more of it, and literally following the formula, following your highest joy and excitement as far as you can take it, moment by moment, as far as you can take it, as far as you can take it, moment by moment, until you can take it no further, and having no insistence on the outcome, and yet knowing and then keeping a positive state of mind that no matter what you see in your reflection, even if it's something you don't prefer, it is something that is there to give you, you can still see the positive in it. And I know we have all experienced this, even in the last day, month, years, where you have seen now where a situation that looked, I don't even know what word I want to use here.
Unpreferred.
There you go. We'll just keep it at unpreferred. what we have realized is wow, now I understand why that happened. And so on my website too I have a blog on there. I don't really share and market this stuff. But the reason I'm sharing is because I've been sharing more on my blog, on my website. So when we have these hangouts and these events, like the other day, Dave took pictures of the cards that we drew. I put them on the website so you guys can see them more clearly, so you can feel the energy, close up, zoom in, download, whatever you want. I've got lots of symbols that I've been wanting to share with you guys to use as you will, however you're guided, because I received them. I just received them. Do I call them from my galactic families, from God, from source? Yes. As many of you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I started just using the sacred circuits from Sirius that were downloaded to us through Bashar, channeled by DNAAngelic, and I was activated and I started receiving them. I started seeing them in my dreams. I started writing them down. I started getting more galactic connections, more angelic connections, more knowing who I am and understanding about my parallel realities and connecting to all of that and receiving all this information. I'm just like everybody else, just like you guys. So this is why I share this stuff, so that we can understand we're always channeling. Yet it depends on what frequency and what your belief systems are. There's so many things that play into this. And so I wanted to share more of these things. So, and a lot of, and I even post things that are more personal, pictures of Dave and I, pictures of things that sharing my process. Because I will say this morning, I posted a video this morning of 2 doves that have taken up residence in the backyard, in the back corner of the house here above the shutters. I was looking out the window this morning, I had just woken up, poured my coffee, had barely even had a sip. And I see these doves back and forth building a nest. And I'm like, and all of a sudden the downloads come and I'm like, okay, I need to go outside. So I bring my coffee, set it down, and it just starts flooding in. This energy, this Michaela, this that I've been trying to figure out what this is these last few weeks. The name kept coming to me. The name kept showing itself to me. And yet I didn't know where or who or what it was. And so we settle into this information, and then it's like, okay, now what do I do with it? And then we wait. And then but I ask, who are you? What is this? What am I experiencing? So as I'm watching these doves this morning, this energy comes in, this being comes in, this frequency comes in, and the message comes forth. This is how these things happen for me. And I think it happens for a lot of people this way. And this is why we're encouraged to be in nature, look at nature. I've been joking, we've been playing birds, sound songs like from YouTube on all day long. And now Dave's laughing, thinking, we don't even know what we're attracting all day because we're playing bird songs all day. Who the heck knows? Maybe we actually attracted these birds, and we don't. So, and that's okay, and I'm actually honored that, and even my sister, when I sent her the pictures this morning, she says, you're going to have a baby. And I was just like, oh, it's just the way she said, and it was just so beautiful. And so all of this is about sharing. All of it is about sharing, and me sharing my process and how this stuff came through for me, how it started. I've explained lots of this stuff in a lot of my videos. I've been meeting a lot more people on Facebook as I've been sharing a little bit more on Facebook, which I haven't been. And I'm not even going to get into all of those reasons, how much we all love and hate Facebook, but it's still a place for us to share. And I've met some amazing people these last few weeks and months. And the funny thing is I did an event a few weeks ago, the tea ceremony with Astara, and Beverly was there, and I wouldn't have met her had she not decided to come back on Facebook for a little while, and then me looking at more things. So do you see how we find each other when we're ready? And Dave and I found each other when we were ready. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that the gifts and the things that people have been giving and doing for me go far beyond even monetary. And now the thing that Dave has been working on, and we've been working on too, is this idea of creating not just equal wealth for all beings, but eliminating an arbitrary monetary system that doesn't work anyway, and that the value is in you anyway, and it's in your gifts, your abilities, what you have to share. It doesn't matter what it is. Your puzzle piece will fill the spot it needs to fill, and you will have everything you need, everything you need. And I want to share something a little personal that I don't normally. Beverly already knows this. And I wasn't even, see, this is how I never know where these things are going to go. But I wanted to say to you guys that maybe that some of you maybe aren't aware of a little bit of our personal situation, and that Dave's step grandson is a 30-year-old quadriplegic in a wheelchair who needs constant 24/7 supervision and help and assistance with everything. So most of my day now that I've met Dave, and our day, Dave's day, is really devoted to that schedule now. And so this is not something I would normally share outwardly in public, but it's about the sharing. And I told Dave, I said, there's something that said to me that I needed to share this information, and not for us, about us necessarily, but in a way, yes, because for you guys to understand too, we're doing it hard, doing it scared, working around what we've got, the time that we do have. AJ cannot be alone for less than an hour, more than an hour. Did I say that right? More than an hour. And he's in a wheelchair. He needs to be weight shifted every hour, 5 minutes, and then back again. So a lot of process goes in the morning. Dave's process is a few hours long in the morning. And most of the time now, we're making breakfast and doing normal everyday things like we would, and then we start on with our day. So we have evolved and worked around all of these, but yet now we're coming into this harmonic, place where now we've created a space. That was another thing. The whole Dove video this morning, and Michaela coming in, was about creating a space for yourself, no matter where it is, even if it's a little corner, but it's about creating a space. It was more about rebuilding your spiritual nest. And that was what it was about, rebuilding your spiritual nest. And how do we do that? And what does that have to do with channeling? And what does that have to do with any of this?
And who's going to be part of it?
And who's going to be part of that? Who is going to be building that nest with you? And so all of these things, and I've shared my journey in all of my videos. As soon as I met Dave and realized my life was going to take a completely different turn, I completely changed my life overnight, literally overnight. And many could view our situation in many different ways. And yet I have never expanded more, been open more. The information, the comments from you guys coming back to us has been, I can't even tell you how touching it is. And because all we're doing is just sharing our everyday life. This is really what we do when we wake up, when we're making videos, we're talking about this stuff, and talking about his outlook, and me learning about what it is to have tradition and ritual, and learning about Hebrew, and what does this have to do with light language? Because I'll tell you, many years ago, I started to get downloads long before I met Dave about the connection between Hebrew and light language, and the first languages, and the beginning of us, the beginning of humans. God putting the first letters, the letters of light, the white fire, the white behind the letters. See, all of this starts to move into a new direction. And so all of these things I've been experiencing these years. And so I've been sharing these in all different ways. And one of the things I get really excited about is when I meet people and they're excited about something and they come to me because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with it, And so together we just push each other out, off the cliff. And I have become so much more of all that I am because of all of you and the information back to us. And when we're just sharing our normal everyday stuff and doing videos together, they're almost always, I always spur the moment. Now, today, I asked Beverly to join us today. And it's funny because today is 3/31/2021. That was part of the whole message for me this morning, was this 3 3 3 3 3 3 energy, equaling today 15, which is a manifest day, equaling 6. And so we've got this string of threes, and I was hearing it over and over again, the Christ consciousness, Christ consciousness, Christ consciousness. This has been flooding Trinity. It has been flooding with my senses for weeks now. And now it's during Passover, and I'm opening up to more and more of this energy, opening up to more light languages, opening up to more of this, sharing more videos now. Now I've been sharing more videos. I've been guided to share more videos and doing and allowing more channeling energies through, and speaking from different perspectives and allowing that information to come through more fluidly. Dave has had a lot to do with this with me in helping me open up my own voice, my own throat chakra. There's a lot of stuff. Even Beverly was saying, "Oh, you've got your drum." Because a lot of the stuff I haven't done and shared, because I also have timid moments where I think, wow, who is that? What is that? Because it's so strong. But yet I know there's always a beautiful energy behind it. And I know you can feel my heart because you respond in kind. So I wanted to take these opportunities to thank Beverly, to thank all of you for being with us, for being with me, to her for being our friend, my personal friend, who I can share these things with me and share things with her about my own personal experiences, our challenges. And something else that I wanted to share with you is, as far as going beyond, I wanted to kind of throw this out there. If you haven't seen this video, these videos, and I'll put the link out there, with AJ and his opportunity as being with the VA, the Veterans Association, as well as I don't want to get the Life Waters people. I will give all the links here. I've shared this before. And his being even a quadriplegic, but having the opportunity to go scuba diving. And so, being that we live here in South Florida, we're near Miami and Fort Lauderdale, near the dolphin energy, that's a whole nother subject for another day. But the dolphin energy, the whale energy, is all part of this, bringing me to this area. The crystal skulls, the pyramids, all of these things are all part of who I am and what I love to share with all of you. Our love of crystals.
Being on the corner of the Bermuda Triangle and Atlantis.
And there's that. So so many friends we've met that lately and connecting with the crystal skulls in ways that we haven't. Now we're really pushing this energy forward and feeling it. So the reason I wanted to bring up about AJ and about the scuba diving is that something he never ever thought he would be able to do. And I just, because I love what I do and love taking videos and sharing experiences, I recorded the whole thing. And then the Life Waters folks asked if they could use my videos to show people you can go beyond what you think is possible. It all happened by synchronicity. We have shared this in other videos and other live events, but it happened all by synchronicity and timing, that if Dave wouldn't been there at the time that they were, and weren't you guys running late, and the guy just happened to be walking out at the time that they were arriving, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go scuba diving?" And he's like, "Wait, what? Yeah, let's do it." Walk back in, the papers were done. So you don't know what, by changing your frequency, you change the world you're on. You're not changing the version of the earth you're on. You're changing your frequency to move into a vibration of the earth that is more in line and tune with that vibration. And there's so many other things. I tell you, I could start a whole YouTube channel just about disability awareness. My sister's also paralyzed, so I've had a little bit of experience with this in my own family. So I just felt like somebody needed to hear this, that I wanted to share it. And if you guys have any questions about that part of our life, or caregiving, right now we are at a point right now where we do not have a caregiver at all. Dave's it. I'm it.
Well, we have one. It's just we don't have help.
We just, right. And so, yes, exactly. So, and it's, so there's, and the thing is it's not even for not trying. It's that there's no one trained to do this type of work and no one available to do this type of work. And so even if we wanted to find, we have friends who have disabilities, who have wives and families and children who cannot do it alone, who can't find help. So maybe this is a cry for help. Maybe this is a call for help to all of those people, to all of you out there who, maybe if you're looking to change your career, maybe you've been not working because of all of the situation, maybe you've been looking to do something different, maybe you, whatever. I don't know why I'm supposed to share these things, so I do. And Dave is always open to share. We're always open to these things. So he's always says to me, if you're guided to share it, please do. So
And before we
yeah.
say hello to Beverly,
I know,
I do want to say that how we got involved with the scuba is a perfect example.
yes,
Of we had an appointment at the VA and we were late because we were in traffic. And because we kept in a higher vibration of looking at it as, oh boy, we're stuck in traffic. I wonder why we need to be late. That was the attitude that we always work toward having, instead of, we're in the traffic. When is it going to end? We're going to miss our appointment. What kind of problems are we going to have because of that? We didn't think any of those things. We saw it as an opportunity, and we're excited to see what that opportunity was going to bring us. So because we were late, as we showed up at the VA hospital, it was in perfect timing for the recreational director to be walking in at the same moment that we walked by, and we met at the door, who then said, he was just walking by, we're doing scuba this weekend. Do you want to go? And AJ and I looked at each other like, huh?
What?
And AJ said, sure. And I said, okay. Now,
and we were there.
Now, we normally, there would be a little heads up. There would be a little bit of time to coordinate. The idea of AJ scuba diving at all was the last thing we ever thought would be even possible. But and there are some activities that spinal cord injury patients do that probably is not appropriate for AJ, but I would say scuba diving would have been on that list. But we said, okay, and we're just going to go with the flow and do it. And with almost no resistance at all through the entire weekend, he got to scuba dive not only once, but twice.
It was amazing.
Both Saturday and Sunday.
It was awesome.
And it's opening him up to the ability to be certified. He just has to do another test.
And he did complete the book.
He completed the paperwork.
The paperwork certification.
But to be certified, to actually be able to scuba in the ocean with a team of,
because it requires a special team.
But to do it in the ocean, to be able to swim with the dolphins and the fish and see all the things that there is to see. But it's also creating a huge opportunity for a team of scuba instructors locally to be trained for this type of thing, to be able to do the same thing with other quadriplegics or otherwise disabled people, and not only veterans. So that did not exist in the Miami area before. It was actually a team of people that came down from, I forget what state it was.
Missouri, I believe it.
Area.
Yeah, he is where they're stationed out of, I think.
But that team of people are now trained people locally to be able to carry on that. And of course, Miami, what better place is there for scuba diving?
And we're hoping that it turns into a team of divers that can do this right here in Miami with the dolphins here, even in the Miami aquarium. So
So the idea of staying in a positive attitude, no matter what,
Right.
brings those synchronicities together, and you just need to be in a vibration of allowing those things to become visible to you, because the guy could have walked by and said hello, and if we weren't in a good vibration, he just would have kept walking.
Yes.
And even being in a good vibration, he could have said, "You want to scuba?" And we could have said, "Oh, we can't do that.
We can't do that.
And then he would have said, "Okay, see you
Okay,
later."
see you later.
But all of these things came together, and staying in a positive attitude and allowing the abundance to come in whatever form it is, brings these opportunities. And you know how it's exciting for us, but it's way more exciting for AJ. And hopefully it's going to be exciting for a lot more people who otherwise would not have gotten that opportunity.
Exactly.
So
if there's any of you guys watching and you want more information, like I said, we'll put the links in the description and stuff so you guys can see it. I'll put a link to, I have a playlist on my channel actually, and it says AJ Scuba Diving, I think. So it is there. The playlist is there for you guys to watch it. So
hello, Beverly.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
There she is. Now I'll let her say hello. So it was really, and it was the synchronicities that brought today happening, because Beverly had said how what did you say in the comment on the YouTube channel on the video? It was something about it had brought some things forward for you.
Yeah, basically listening to you both talking and drawing the cards, and you know how you have these little conversations in your head thinking this or that, and it was like at every turn I had something to say about it, which normally I don't. And one of them was like the chair, when you pulled the chair out.
That was really fun. Yeah, with the, what was that, the wishing chair book?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that existed.
By Enid Blyton, which was one of, I didn't read as a child. I was a child with learning difficulties, because I was, it wasn't that I didn't have the brain, it was I didn't have the confidence. One of my things has always been confidence. So I was a slow learner, dyslexic as well, so that didn't help. So when I found the first book, it was called The Wishing Chair, and it opened me up to another world of possibilities. And then the next book after that was The Magic Faraway Tree.
Wish. My necklace. I wear this necklace all the time. It says wish on it. And you just,
the Wishing Chair. And basically, you know, the book of The Wishing Chair is about these children that get into this chair, just an ordinary chair with handles, and they don't know where they're going to be taken. They don't even know it's a magical chair, and suddenly it grows wings and takes them off into another place. Now,
sounds like meditation.
Yeah, and obviously when you get older and you think, well, where did Enid Blyton get these ideas from? Because when you look at the story of the Wishing Chair, as I put to you, you know, the chair was taking them to different dimensions.
See how, and it was uncanny, you guys. If you look, I told you I shared it on my blog. You look at the close up at the Wishing Chair, it looks, doesn't it look almost like the cover of the book?
Yeah.
As the card, it was crazy. And we got the cards here. We're going to pull more cards too, because I'm telling you, these things are so activating. And if you guys look close up on the cards, there are all kinds of galactic symbols. I cannot explain it. This is from Israel. I even saved and she signs it. She signs the box. I'm telling you, this stuff is so activating. And I did put the links in the last video to where to get this stuff, but that's why I saved it. I saved all the postage because it's from Israel. I'm like,
I'm just looking.
And no matter what anybody thinks, doesn't matter what your beliefs are, Israel is a very special place.
Well, and we have to remember too. Yes, exactly. It is the holy place for, I think, for all. It's
for everybody.
Yes. And it's not just about religion. This is about higher consciousness. This is about all things connected. and that understanding.
Yeah.
And Christianity, and it's funny because we were talking about the Last Supper and how it really, I mean, that is the Seder, is the Last Supper, yet you know what I mean? It's like how all of these things are so interconnected, and we call it separate religions, but yet the stories Dave and I have been discovering and getting downloads about, they're the same stories, just told from a different perspective, completely different perspective. How is it that we didn't really understand well, we knew. Everyone has, how many people have said, if you want to look for some, what did you say? Evidence of ETs, look in the Bible.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's the go-to book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because I do remember, and I found two cards out of the King Solomon Oracle deck that had to do with chairs, specifically chairs.
I remember these.
So you could show them.
And we can share them.
But one happens to be 13 and the other one I think was 29.
Mm.
So the idea of spirit coming out of nowhere.
Look at these symbols on the bottom. Now, don't you guys look? That is sacred circuitry if I ever saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These cards are so multidimensional. That's what's so interesting about them, is they have so many messages, and every time I look at them, they're like so activating. And then there's always these symbols at the bottom. Mm-hmm. I mean, really.
They're quite beautiful as well.
I know. They're so
and this other card here,
the artwork
is, so I want to say, get rid of the cobwebs, because that's holding me back.
And 28 is the date of my birthday. And look, these symbols are just something else. And the imagery, I'll go close. I'll zoom in.
Oh yeah, that's bringing in the geometry in that one.
All of it. This is what I mean. These cards, they gather like everything that we're made of. The star in the crack. I mean, there's so much imagery that if I was doing, because I haven't even used these for readings yet, because they're just so in.
See, I'm looking at that and I'm saying the cobwebs are the belief systems that say you can't get in the wishing chair and fly away. Get rid of those beliefs and you could.
These are incredible.
Ascend to wherever you want to go. I
just love these cards, and it was Beverly that sparked this to use the cards and bring that into the reading, and then invite you here because of the stuff that we've been talking about in the King Solomon stuff. So you mentioned to me too, some additional, or you said a little bit ago, additional synchronicities about finding some things about your own connections to those ideas too. So what were you referring to? To like Jewish connection, idea, the Jewish connection.
Well, yes. I think I've been involved with 3 different types of religion in one way, shape or form. I'm very open. I'm an open book to all religions.
Me too.
I don't diss anybody's religion. However, myself personally, I had 2 different feelings about religion, the God and the Christ energy. The God energy from the Jewish perspective, because my grandma, that's what she was involved with, that's what she did, and it was very sacred, extremely sacred, overpowering. And I remember this as a child, it had been overpowering. It was just something from within that was bigger than you could explain. You can't put it into words. Whereas the Christ consciousness from the Catholic side of me, going to church, I found it very, very hard to identify with, because it didn't have this overpowering sense of the God, the source energy. And it took me years and years and years. And literally only 2 years ago that everything, the synchronicities I was getting and the images and everything that I was being drawn to was the Trinity. And so for me, it was a journey of go back and look at the Christ consciousness and why I couldn't get involved with it. Why I didn't, it's not that I didn't believe in Christ, I did, but I didn't want to bow down to him the way that the religion told me I should.
We just
There
talked
was the
about that.
missing link. There was a missing link for me, and it didn't resonate. And then 2 years ago, when I started looking at the Holy Trinity and what it meant, and bringing in aspects of Christ, I started to get it. And I don't know if I've told you guys, I had a QHHT session.
No, I don't think you ever mentioned that.
And that was interesting because I didn't get a lot out of it, but what I got made me smile, because I didn't see myself as anything other than an energy form. And she kept asking me to go deeper and deeper, and I couldn't. I was just this energy form, and I couldn't really see a lot. And then out of nowhere, this vision came forward. And I remember saying to the lady, Christ has just appeared to me. Jesus has just appeared to me. And she said, what are you seeing? I said, I'm seeing a man in white robes, and in my head, I know it's Jesus. And that's really all I got out of the session. So out of my session, I was an energy. And I thought to myself, now then, I'm trying to tie in links here as to why I've had this barrier against the Christ energy. And I thought, yeah, I wonder if it was Christ that invited me to come to Earth to have another session down here. And then I've been down here and thought, did I really sign up for this? It's your fault. And maybe it was a subconscious thing, but I've been asked to come here at this moment in time, in this time frame, to do something which I still don't know what. But like I say, all my teachings now that I'm being directed to definitely involves a Trinity. Definitely, I've always had a connection with the source energy. I mean, that's always been apparent, but they want me to investigate Christ consciousness and what it actually means. The Easter, the celebration, the link between, he was a man. He was a man. He was flesh and blood. He was a Jewish man who had a mission to show us how to do something, and it got misinterpreted.
Yep. It's so true. Everything you're saying is just, my whole heart has, and I have to say to you guys too, my whole heart chakra has been busted wide open these last couple of weeks. I cannot tell you. And everything that you're saying, Beverly, the funny thing is that's why I said this morning, I knew right away that's why we had to be together today, because of the numbers. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I wrote this morning, all the threes, Christ consciousness. I looked at my phone today. It was 12:21, and I took a screenshot of it, and I wrote on it on Facebook, Christ consciousness, because I heard it, I feel it, I saw it, I've been walking it, I've been enveloped in it, and I feel the same way. And now, so you now, in your investigation of exploration of this and your connection to this, I do feel this, like, how do you want to express that to people?
Well, it's a case of, it's a personal journey, isn't it? It's a personal journey, because sometimes you can't change people's mind. They have their beliefs built into them. And some of these beliefs have probably come from other lifetimes as well, not just this lifetime, within specific families.
Well,
So,
isn't that what Jesus taught us, that being that idea that in his complete and unconditional loving allowance, that he understand, I'm not here to change you. I'm just here to offer my vibration. And if you can believe to match it, you will match it. And if not, I love you. There is no, like you said, there's no, I've been the same way. I've never been really attached to any one religion. I've never been, I mean, my family grew up, loosely Lutheran, that kind of thing. But other than that, it just, none of it made sense to me. When I met Dave and I began to understand just the principles alone, it was exactly the same. It was all that is, everything's connected. The one is the all are the one, the many names of God. I began to understand, like you said, that was powerful for me. It was standing at the altar, even now, is almost overwhelming sometimes because of the power behind it. And I too couldn't connect with that as a kid because of the idealism, the how it was being portrayed, and even argued with people in my family. And it's not that I don't believe it, it's that I don't believe it the way it's presented to me. And what I loved about, I even said something to his dad about ETs and extra, and his dad's like, well, of course, we already, this is what I'm saying. That was never addressed when I was a kid. Any of those subjects were off limits. My mom would tell me, go ask the pastor, go ask the reverend. And I would ask these questions and they want nothing to do with those conversations. And it's like, so I didn't understand, how could you ignore everything else in creation? And so when I began to understand the principles, and even trust me, you guys, I know nothing about it, nothing about the Torah, nothing except for what I've understood and learned and feel and been downloaded. And I can't even explain the difference, the reverence, the feeling. That's what I wanted to feel all my life. And yet, like you, I pushed it away because it was so misunderstood, and it was so convoluted in what do we call that? Distortion,
and also other people's expectations, or
yes,
people put in, it's like you walk into a church and there's the priest, and like everybody puts the priest on a pedestal because he's the priest. And that's not what it's all about. He's there to share enlightenment, not to be on a pedestal.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what I was fighting with. This was my inner
these
conflict.
people know how to party too.
Well, last week I saw an amazing video. It was I'm not very good at remembering the names. Dave will have to remind me. The Jewish part of the Jewish community that has the hair.
Oh yes, we were just watching those. The Hasidic.
Hasidic, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So in London, there's a huge community in a particular part of London. Well, there's a few, but there was this documentary, and it made me laugh. It was amazing that this guy who took part, he was so open, because all those myths and holier than thou expectations, he was not it, even though he was part of the community. I mean, he was divorced. He was asking the matchmaker to find a wife
we know all about that.
And the matchmaker was finding it difficult. I don't know. Have you watched Peaky Blinders?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, there is a character in Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders is a Birmingham set, like a series with these real ruffians, and they'd be like the mafia of Birmingham in England. And this was set in the 1920s upwards. So these people went from rags. They were gypsies, and they worked their way up to having lots and lots of money. So anyway, one of the deals was with Solomon in London.
Oh my God.
And
no
there
way.
There was this Jewish guy called Solomon, who was a complete devout Jewish man, but he was, you know, open to earning money from whatever he could. So there was this similarity between this man I was watching and his slightly dodgy past. You know, and it made me laugh, because we can't look at people and automatically think of them in a certain aspect. Everybody is unique, is different, you know.
I was watching some of these Seder videos and Passover videos, and I told him, I said, you've been holding out on me. I'm like, you guys, I love the celebratory energy, the passion of it. And this is every Friday night too, you guys. This is every Friday. It's not just during Passover. It's every Friday. It's
every Friday. Yeah, it was for my nana.
And the fun, but the reverence in the fun, and I can't even describe it. It's just so, it's wonderful. I love the energy. And
yeah, definitely that energy that is downloaded at that time on a Friday, because I remember it with my grandmother. It was special. It was just so special. It was unique.
Yes,
it was unique.
It's like what I've longed for, and I didn't know that that's what I was looking for. And even just the little things, the little small things that I do with Dave are just they're so powerful for me. And I'm like, and I don't even know why. And then I start to understand, and this is where I started to understand about all these other things, and then DNA and the ET stuff, and how all these things were starting to connect, and how then when Bashar said in one of his events that it was the ETs that helped them across the desert and the Exodus, and mana, they told me to talk, just mention that too. You have everything you need to do, what you need to do, when you need to do it. They provided. God will provide, right? You are God. God will provide. So that brings into like this whole other story of the whole other perspective of, like Dave was saying, well, who was Abraham talking to? Who was Moses talking to? Who were they really talking to?
Well,
would they have believed it was God? Yes. Of course. When I am opening up to these energy, I'm pointing outside because of the video I did last night. It's like, when I'm opening up to these energies, I know, I'm like, God is speaking through me, because I'm telling you guys, sometimes the energy is so strong. It's unbelievable. It is so, the humbleness I feel, the reverence, the passion.
Well, since God is the master of the path of least resistance, he will always find a way to get the message across. Assist.
I was reminded today, Reiki. What did Usui Reiki say? Mikhail Usui said, God gave me these 5 principles to live by, to live a more peaceful life. If you follow these 5, and I don't know them by heart, and I have studied Reiki, sorry, you guys. But the point is, what's the difference? And look at Reiki now. Look at Reiki now. Look at how it has now become more than it ever was before, and how so many people open up to Reiki, open up through QHHT, open up through these other avenues, and then all of a sudden they start to see more and more of all that they are, and the more pieces of the puzzle. That's why I knew today, that was why we had to do this today. I was enveloped in that Christ consciousness, and as soon as you started talking about it, and then there was something else. They asked me today with regard to the Reiki thing too. So who taught the masters then? We talk about ascended masters. Who taught them?
Well, that's interesting because yes, there are books to show you Buddha's journey. God, it goes out my head now. Krishna. I mean, you can read up all these things. I mean, I found an interesting one of the mysteries of going back to Jesus now was, as a child, I celebrated the birth of Jesus. Yay, Christmas! And then next thing, he's been crucified. It's like, where did his life go? I want to know about Jesus. I want to know what he was like as a little boy, because I'm human. I want to know his human experience. And the Bible seems to nicely omit all this information.
That's why I like the old, that's exactly it, because we understood he was a Jewish man who said,
Yeah.
I don't agree with all this stuff. I don't agree with this stuff. And all I'm going to do is tell people how I don't agree with it. And I'm going to go travel the world at 13, I think it was, as the story goes, or something. And he came back a more enlightened person. And what happened? He came back to said,
so now
he knows the story better than I do.
Well, so when he returned to Israel, now in a higher vibration, things were more obvious to him, because
like they are to us now.
As you raise your vibration, you become more enlightened and more aware of the things around you, and you see the contrast more obviously. So he saw that things that were happening with the Jewish temple were much more distorted than intended, and he spoke out about it. So by speaking out about it, of course, the people that were self-serving, that didn't want the boat to be rocked, because, of course, now we're back to the monetary system, because they were making money.
They were making money now.
Yeah, always about the money.
It's see.
So Jesus spoke out about that, and he, became a target for those that didn't want the changes to be made back toward more spirituality. So then now we get to the rest of the story, which is which I'm not overly familiar with, but at that time, I guess the Romans were technically in control, but they allowed the Jewish people to do their thing, but they were, in cahoots. And I guess the Jewish people that didn't want the more pure understanding to be taught to the people, secretly went to the Romans to have Jesus arrested. And then the crucifixion story and the Last Supper and all that, that whole story continued from there.
Which is what people don't realize is the Seder is the Last Supper.
And I was looking up that there are a lot of people who recognize that the Last Supper was a Passover Seder, but it was actually were able to isolate the date of the Last Supper where it corresponded to the first day of Passover in that time in the year. So it wasn't a metaphoric Passover. It was he was doing the normal Passover.
Something about the dates this year. 4/4 is Easter.
So
44, and it's the last day of Passover.
It's the last day of Passover.
Falls on Easter this year. That's significant somehow. I don't know how, but it is.
So, of course, the other thing about Jesus was in his younger years, and things that they omit from the New Testament. I mean, I've been to Catholic school, and nowhere was I told, like Dave said, that Jesus went away to study all around the world. Joseph took him. His grandmother went with him. His mother went, but Joseph was his mentor. Joseph played a big part in Jesus' life. And they just don't tell you these things. For obvious reasons, when you know the story that Jesus went away to learn the masters, to learn about crystals, to learn about activation, you know. Well, of course, people in power don't want us to know about that. And that's what Jesus was all about. He was there to teach us, to show us that in human flesh, it could be done, that we could be the masters of our own selves to reach the same heights. But we never get to learn that.
Well, I will say to you, my dear, sweet, loving friend, that, you know, what you've just done, I could feel like what you're doing is embodying the Christ consciousness, and I can feel it. I can literally feel it, the words that you speak and the truth that I feel in your words. This is how we know our inner compass and the emotional wave that comes through the knowingness of those words. You just know. And as you say these things, and you and I've talked over the last few months and years as far as the idea of, you know, you feeling, you know, you're a scientist, you come from a very logical minded, and I didn't tell everybody where you're from, where you're living right now, so everybody knows.
I'm from England.
Okay. So that way everybody knows where she's at. So she's from there. And so, but this change that I've seen happen over and with a lot of people, of course, over the last year because of the situation. And we've all had, you know, many people have had to change, you know, their situation, but this coming into your own sovereignty, your own power, your own developing your own inner spiritual guidance system, if you will. Seeing you now and how different it is than it's been a while since we got to hang out in a video chat, like a while. It's like, I'm trying to remember the last time. I mean, it's been months, I think, since you and I chatted, and the difference that I feel with you today, it's as if this is what you're coming into, is you bringing that information out to people, and just exactly what you just said, because I feel it. I feel that, maybe not on an, I don't mean necessarily on a maybe a wide scale or the word evangelical scale came to me, not on that scale necessarily, but this idea of there's a reason why, and we know this all the time, and Dave, there's a reason why I feel certain energies around him, and there's a reason why you're feeling this Christ consciousness too. Why all the 33333s today? Of course, because this is, and it equals 33. 33 is the Trinity, the Christ consciousness, 33 vertebrae. If you guys look up the meaning of 33, your mind will just explode when you start to see all of the synchronicities that have to do with what we're talking about, and the Merkaba and the Star of David. What were you going to say?
Well, it just also reminds me of Thomas the Apostle.
Well, let's talk about that now. I'm glad you brought it up, because this morning something happened to me, and
one of the 12 apostles.
So today's date equals 12. As I was writing that in my journal, we were looking up something else entirely about, I don't even remember now what. So, and all of a sudden I said to Dave, I feel someone around you. I said, I feel a presence around you.
Oh, I know what it was.
What were you looking up? What?
The marijuana, different marijuana, hybrid strains. Hybrid. So let's use the word hybrid. Because that's hybrid. We were looking up.
Well, because and many people say you know, Jesus is an ET, that he, you know, and there's that whole side of that thing too. But so then I said to Dave, I said, do you want me to tell you when I feel these things around you? Do you want me to tell you things like their name and stuff? And then, so I think, he's reading and he's like, well, yeah, you know, and I was like, okay, are you know, so all of a sudden I hear in my head, ask Dave, what is he doubting right now? Ask him. And then I said, who? I said, who is this? And he says, you can call me Thomas. And I said, okay. So then I said to Dave, I said, well, there's someone here named Thomas, and he says to ask you, are you doubting anything? And then he said the same thing to me. And are you
Doubting Thomas?
Are you? Okay, so I swear to God, you guys, I do not know the Bible at all. So now this is how dim I am when it comes to the Bible. So he says, wait a minute. I said, look up St. Thomas. I said, St. Thomas. So he looks up the island St. Thomas, because we've been looking at islands in Hawaii. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're supposed to go to St. Thomas. I don't know. So then I'm like, and then he says, oh no, wait, Thomas, he's one of the 12 apostles. I went, 12?
Doubting Thomas.
Doubting. He says, that is the story of the doubting Thomas. I said, no. And I'm like, swear to God, wrote it down. I'm like.
So what's funny is his name also, they called him Didymus, which means twin.
Twin.
Yes. I know that. Don't ask me how I know it.
And something told me this was the other reason why you and I, Beverly, weren't supposed to hang out till today, was the Michaela video had to come out today. The 33333 thing had to be visible to us today. The energy, the doubting Thomas had to come through today. So that was part of the message for everybody today too. Where are you doubting? Where are you doubting Thomas? Where are you doubting your own sovereignty? Where are you doubting your own Christ consciousness? Where are you doubting that you are God? This has been powerful shit. And I was so emotional today. And then when my friend sent me that gift that they sent me today, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, the power of the humility of what this feels like, you guys, is just unbelievable. And the humility I even feel just when he's speaking Hebrew. I don't even know what's happening to me. I'm like, why do I feel this way? It's like so amazing to me. And on Friday night, his dad lives in Pennsylvania, and that's where Dave's from. And he called him on Fridays to do Kiddush every Friday night, and they do it over the phone. And we stand there, and the video I posted on Facebook the other day is pretty much what he does every Friday night, with the exception of this was for Passover. So, and I've always wanted to record it because of the reverence that I feel. I literally light the menorah. We do I cannot explain it, Beverly. And then I wanted to say to you, how do you pronounce your last name? Levy?
Levy.
Levy. Well, Levi is one of the 12 tribes. 12?
Yes.
12
but remember,
tribes.
You see, the
Which
thing
also
is,
equals 3.
The whole thing about, my connection, my Jewish connection, because I wasn't born Levy. Remember that. I'm not
exactly
Jewish.
But isn't that weird how that?
Yes.
Now through my own discoveries of some synchronicities, feel that I'm from the Benjamin tribe. I have no idea why, but one thing led to another, and I started researching, and the breadcrumbs led me to that. So very interesting.
And I think the other thing that you were talking about
and
last
that's
week,
his tribe, Levi.
Yeah. I wouldn't change my name. For some reason, that is my name, even though it wasn't the name I was born with.
But it was the
my
name
name.
you're supposed to be.
It feels good. It feels
Yes.
right. Last week you were talking about the Elohim.
Yes.
And that was when I was sort of thinking about the energy of God, the energy of Source, and how it is so powerful. You felt it. I mean, I think anybody who's never participated or watched a Jewish ceremony on a Friday night, you can't describe it until you participate in it.
And
how
I've never
powerful it is.
participated like you have, where you've gone through the whole thing and the readings and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's a thing.
It is. I mean, I didn't understand a word of it. I was only little, but it was very powerful. But the whole thing about Source and God is the power, and that we, in our third dimensional, you know, rise into 5-dimensional, if that's what you'd like to choose to believe, we just can't grasp the power because it's too powerful for us to understand, even comprehend. Which is, you know, when going back to Moses, I feel that, you know, and the Elohim, Moses really had to have an interpreter, because he couldn't have, in his human form, even understood a little bit of what was going on. You know, God is too powerful. It's like throwing you into a nuclear, but, you know, into a full nuclear blast. You wouldn't survive. So you need interpreters. You need people. You need this other intermediate. Because, have you heard of the Rainbow Bridge? It always comes up in my head. The Rainbow Bridge. You know, and you go and up the Rainbow Bridge, and somebody comes to meet you. One of the angels, if that's who you want, you know, will meet you at the top of the Rainbow Bridge, to help you translate the messages that you feel are from Source. Because it's hard for us to do that in this form.
I believe that each of us is an interpreter of Source for each other. Was there something you wanted to share?
Well, I just wanted to say one of the things that I found talking about the Apostle Thomas was just a little article, but it talks about weaknesses that the Apostle Thomas had. But it says that, and I'm reading this because when you connect with the Christ consciousness energy and with Jesus and with that type of vibration, to keep this in mind. All the apostles had weakness and lack of understanding. We must not exaggerate these facts, however, for Christ did not pick worthless men. But their human weakness, again, points us to the fact that holiness is a gift of God, not a human creation. It is given to ordinary men and women with weakness. It is God who gradually transforms the weakness into the image of Christ, the courageous, trusting, and loving one. So the idea of self-worth and the lack of self-worth that is embedded in everyone, there's no reason to have that. And you should really embrace the connection that you have with the Christ consciousness and with Jesus, and, you know, however he appears to you. And that same energy is shared in many, many different ways. And, you know, it could be like, for instance, when we watch certain channelings of the IL, you could feel that love of God in those energies. And in higher dimensions and higher frequencies, that love of God is present all over. So it's all part of you, and you're bringing all that through however it comes through. Some of it is labeled so we can understand it and apply it a little easier, because we've left breadcrumbs for ourselves to follow.
Yes, we have.
So here and in this now, we have breadcrumbs of things in the Bible. There's distortion in everything.
You know what?
But we have breadcrumbs.
Okay, so I'm just, breadcrumbs. You just reminded me, because okay, this is a book filled with many of the most beautiful works of art ever created by all the greats. And I just happened to be thumbing through it the other day for a very specific reason. And these are breadcrumbs. These paintings that have been left for us. Let's call it the Last Supper. How would we even have any idea at all? I should look it up and see, because I know it's in here. I know it's in here because we've seen it. How would any of us have any idea what that looked like if it wasn't for Leonardo?
So what's funny is, because there is only now, and we create our own past in the now moment, that the now moment, when we look in this book, we will see paintings that we might have never seen before, because the person who we are now and the frequency that we want to embody now doesn't include a book that has a painting in it that it now has, because our breadcrumbs now ready to be seen. We're at the next breadcrumb.
Exactly.
Now we see a painting that actually might not have even existed.
And I'm laughing. I'm watching this girl the other day talking about how we get answers from source, and how she channels the being from the Yael. I love her. The being is called, her name is Hyla. The girl that channels her name is Philippa. I'm hoping to have her on my channel. She's amazing. She's awesome. So anyway, but she was talking about how, and this is what happens to me too. You guys talk about sharing my process. So I get a name, I get an energy. It's like the Christ consciousness, and you're going, no, not me. Why me? So she says, all right, prove it to me. She tells Hala, and she says, I'm just going to pick up, and she used a Nintendo technical book. Every question she asked was answered in this book. So this energy has been coming through to me ever since right around Passover started. This Michaela, and I'm thinking, what is this? What is this? Who are you? What is your where? And all of a sudden I see this video, and I thought, I'm gonna do that with the art book. I kid you not, you guys, one after the other. I was like, because I was trying to hone in on, it feels, when I feel this energy, and this is new, this is a new feeling for me. It feels like I feel like that, like the Christ consciousness, like that Abraham energy, that, and so I was trying to, it was like, is it a being? Is it a fractal in me? Is it, and it's almost, and like Dave always says, yes. But so I'm looking this up, and so I opened it up, lilies, carnation, lily, rose. Well, this is one of the things, lilies is also one thing we were just talking about. Last week in our last thing we did, we showed about your lily. There's lilies in all these stories, but this was after that. So lily. So then it's like one after the other. The Madonna with the long neck. This one, the Roman Capriccio. So it's like all of a sudden the stories that you're just talking about. So then I said, I'm like, okay, what energy is this that I'm feeling? Why does it feel so big and so all encompassing? Who are you? Like, so what comes up is The Agony in the Garden by Andre Mantegna. I'll show you the picture. And if you look up in the corner, are angels. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay.
Gethsemane.
I could just feel. And then next to it, the cardinal, which is, the cardinal.
Again, that's all linked in with the Christ energy, isn't it?
Yes. So everything pointed, and then they said to me,
with the apostles sleeping under him and not noticing.
That's what this is about. This is the apostles are sleeping, and that's the
everyone
story.
else asleep.
Is that Gethsemane? Did we say? Is that the Garden of
Right.
Gethsemane?
I think it's the agony in the garden. Let me see. It says 5 angels appear to Christ as he prays, while 3 of his apostles sleep in the foreground, unaware that Judas and a crowd of soldiers are on their way to arrest Christ. Every aspect of this scene, the bizarre rock formation, the imagery town, the imaginary town, the rigid folds of drapery, is painted in stony, precise detail. Mantegna was of humble birth, but was adopted and taught by a minor painter, becoming one of the most important artists of his time. His style is that of other Renaissance artists, was inspired by ancient Roman sculpture. Many of his works are, in fact, executed in, and I don't know this word, I don't know that word. I can't. A painted imitation of marble or bronze relief. For much of his life, Mantegna was court painter to the Duke of I can't remember, Mantua, for whom he formed a major, this is really small, collection of classics, works of art. He was also a pioneer in the art of engraving, and his engraving on classical subjects was later to influence Albrecht, Dürer, and others. Can you read where that's at? I can't, it's really small. I could take a photo so you guys can see it. But here it is, brings me to a picture of, what are we talking about? Christ and the angels and the apostles. So right away I knew this being, this energy I was feeling, this Michaela. Then I told you guys in the last video, I look up the meaning, and it's like that of God, or that translation, and it's a Hebrew name, the Hebrew translation of the female version of Michael. And then when I was seeing all these energies and the blue and this blue violet energy, then I posted pictures on Facebook, and I think on my website too, a picture of this light that keeps coming in through these windows. And every time I see it, I feel them. I feel them. There's this energy, this blue violet energy, and I don't even know how to describe it sometimes.
I can't even pronounce
I know
it.
it's, you can't.
I'm not sure if those are locations.
I don't know if it, yeah,
his art
exactly.
exists.
And then I was hearing the founders, and then so then I come across a painting, the builders, and I heard them telling me we are the founders. And so it was like all of this energy was coming through, and then we're talking about Christ consciousness, and I come across, then they said to me,
Who is like God?
the precious, who is like God? That's what Michaela means. The precious book, the Bible, the Torah. It just was a feeling I got when I saw the picture. I have no idea if that's what this is even about, but that was the whole Gwen John. So it was about precious books. I've also been guided to put more books together. Not more books, a book. I have never written a book. Putting a book together.
You just showed me.
Which one? Oh, that was another thing. It's a whole nother, that's a video for another day.
About books.
Yeah, about books and writing, which has been another message from them to everybody that I haven't even done a video on yet. And then these angels came through, the angels of Psyche and Cupid. So every one of these were messages for me. And this is what I want to explain to people. If you ask, it doesn't matter what book you pick up, and it doesn't matter what the book is. If you put the intention out to give you an answer for something, it will, because it's you talking to you. It's your higher self giving you the information you're looking for. It's infinite intelligence receiving your question and giving you an answer the only way that they know how, through physical reality, through doing these videos, through us sharing this stuff, through me sharing my synchronicities, these cards, however this stuff comes through. So ordinary. This is, I mean, we think, okay, I just opened to this page and it's just filled with angels and the sun. That's what
See, you
that's
see
what
that
I'm saying.
again. Well, the sun, Ra, you know, we're talking about again, you know, you're talking about the angels and translation and in sending messages, the in-betweeners, you know, so that we can receive these messages a little bit more clearer.
And Israel is the holy place. Israel, just like Dave and I were talking about the other day. Israel, that sun energy, the I am energy, the El energy, Elohim, elementals, elements, the building blocks of all things.
Tying in with again going back to Christ consciousness. Can you remember the dream that I had a couple of 3 months ago now with the first time I'd had somebody come through and tell me their name?
Yes, I do.
That doesn't happen for me ever. So that, you know, for him to come through in the way that they did and show me what they showed me, it was all to do with the Holy Spirit and surrendering.
Wow.
That was what that dream was all about. That's what noble friend. Can you remember?
Yes,
Elfwin.
I remember that.
Elfwin.
What was the name?
Elfwin. Elfwin, and that is predates Roman times.
Wow.
In Scandinavian Netherlands that way. But what Elfwin showed me was the running stream energy, running stream. He was on one side of the stream, a beautiful horse was on the other side of the stream, and he laid down.
That's right, the horse.
And he laid down with his arms outstretched, his legs outstretched. So he was in a cross position, and he looked up at the horse, and the horse did the same thing, and their eyes just met. And it was this I am no different to you, this energy, the stream. You know, you've got to look at what's going on. And he just turned to me and says, my name's Elfwin. And it means noble friend.
I mean, that's just such a beautiful story. Is it something that you feel like you could channel further, that there's more information to be brought out?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think
when the time's right.
I was
When the
going to say
time's
that would
right.
be fun to explore. You know, you always have a place here. We can always do a private video. This is one thing I want to tell everybody too, like Beverly here. And even Dave will say to me, just do it. You don't have to share it. You don't have to record it, but you don't have to publish it.
Everybody's watching it.
Maybe, right. It doesn't really matter. First of all, he always says, first of all, what people, there's no people. You're the only one in your universe anyway. Second of all, if you're receiving it, perhaps it should be shared. Maybe it's just for you. A lot of my messages and the downloads that I get and the even and to entities and beings that come to me, sometimes I just realize they're just for me. They're my development from my own inner development, and it's not necessary to share it. There's, you know, but yet something tells me, and I'm a centaur, I'm Sagittarian, I'm very weirdly, oddly connected to horses. We are surrounded oddly by horses. Here in South Florida, Southeast Florida, we have all around us ranches and horses. It's very interesting. Where I grew up north of Chicago. That's where I grew up, in the northern suburbs of Chicago, almost at the Wisconsin border, right on Lake Michigan. Equestrian everywhere, horses everywhere. My grandparents had a farm and they had some horses. So something I've been always around me. I lived in Tennessee for a while, lots of horses there. So when Bev shared this dream for me with me, I just felt this reverence, like she said, this bowing to each other, and it reminds me of my relationship with Ranger, is that it was a mutual honor, you
Yeah.
know? It was hard to
Yeah.
explain to people, but there was this, he was never, I mean, I wasn't dominant over him. And yet, of course, there has to be times when there's that alpha energy that, you know what I mean? That, just because mommy says so kind of thing. But there was a deep,
Deep connection.
yeah, it was because I saw him as an equal part of my journey.
Yes.
He was an
Yeah.
equal to me.
And I think that's what that dream was about. It was about, yes, you have to surrender in order to move forward, progress. You're at school, you're learning, but at the same time, you are no different. You are, everybody's here as a alert to learn or to teach. Nobody's any better from anybody else.
And that's the most gracious thing I receive in everything I do, is that I know, and I say it all the time, but I believe it in my heart of hearts, that we are always teachers and always students. I learned so much by these sharings. I learned so much more about you. I learned so much more about who you are and what your gifts and abilities are and what you have to share with the world. And this is when we become sensitive, and people, have sessions with, it's really just helping each other identify what's already there. That's all it is. That's really all that. We give each other permission to open up more of who we are. And that is the best gift you could give somebody, is to help them become more of all that they are. And this is what I get back in these sharings, is I get to be more of me. They get to be more of them, but we become more sensitive. And then we start to recognize the sovereignty in others that they don't see for themselves. And then we, by just simply being who we are, like as you were saying earlier, we can't change anybody. All we can do is just beat our own drum, walk around and be the light that we are, and quit dimming it. Because like Abraham said, and I guess in a nutshell, you can't get dim enough or poor enough or sad enough to, you can't, that is not where you need to meet people. You need to be who you are and allow that vibration to bring to those to you who need you, in whatever way they need you. That's all this is about. And that's the gift of the sharing. There's so many beautiful synchronicities. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know it's getting a little late too in the UK, and I'm looking at the time here myself. I lose track because I love what we're doing so much, and I know it's getting late for you. So this has been so exciting for me, because one thing, I've been wanting to do this with you for a really long time, but you see, the energy in you is so completely different. And funny how even the little bit of nervousness that you may have even, I felt none of that today. Absolutely none of it. Like,
I want to show this.
Yes, please do. Well, is that the castle? Is that a castle?
It's a book.
Oh, it's a book.
Elfwin.
Oh,
Although that was the first spelling that came to my mind, was Elfwin, but the second spelling was different to that.
and it's with a G, right? Elfwig.
Well,
E-L,
What was
I think
it?
it had a PH or something. I've got it written down in my book.
Okay, I was saying it's in my messages, my private messages with you. So I know that too.
so there is.
But
have you ever looked up the name to see if
yes,
Yes.
Elfwin spelt that way just means friend. Elfwin the other way
that's
means
right, you
no
said.
friend.
That's right. And what did you find?
Oh, there's also, it's like Anglo-Saxon or something.
Right, English.
Joy, pleasure.
Oh, yes.
AELFWYNN.
Joy and pleasure. Well, that's kind of nice too.
She was the ruler of Murcia for a few months.
So
Murcia is in Spain.
is that where in England?
No, Murcia is Spain.
Oh, Spain. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Oh, Spain.
Medieval period of the British Isles.
Following her mother's death on 12th of the June, 918. 918 is Ranger's birthday. September 18th. 918 is Ranger's birthday. And it says following was the ruler of Murcia for a few months in 918, following her mother's death on 12th of June, 918. She was the daughter of Ethelred and Ethelfad, the rulers of Murcia. Her accession was the only example of rule passing from one woman to another in the early medieval period in the British Isles.
Oh.
Maybe that's a thread for you, my dear.
Maybe. I never found that. But yeah, that's...
Interesting.
Probably.
So
very interesting.
I'll tell you, there's some stuff here that might be pertinent to this particular elf win spelling, because this is the thing. Why would Dave even look it up? Why would he, you know what I mean? This is the weird part about breadcrumbs. This is how this happens with us. I will say that to him. I feel there's something around you. Oh, they say it's Thomas. Oh, what about this? Oh, it's St. Thomas. Oh, look at this. Turns out, you know, and I had heard in my head, ask Dave about the doubting Thomas. I didn't know that was the story. And then if you go on, there's more about it, about Matthew, and my son's name is Matthew. There's all these other weird little synchronicities that when I was reading through about the little story about Thomas, the apostle, and I looked it up, Thomas the apostle, and I started getting all these little synchronicities. They're all little threads of more and more of telling us who we are. It's our higher self showing us who we are. We are not conceivers. We are receivers. That's it.
You've got to interpret it.
Yes.
And that's quite difficult sometimes.
And the transceiver. Yes, we are the interpreter. So, I mean, this is so amazing to me how all of these things come into play. And I didn't really know, we've talked just a little bit, but I really didn't know of your experience with, you know, that Hebrew side of you and how prevalent that was with you, and how this, you know, the funny thing about meeting you and you meeting, and then Dave, is about, I feel that balance with you. Like you encompass both sides of that coin. That to me feels very, well, everyone's unique, of course, but it makes me feel like that it gives you just such a beautiful, unique perspective. But now you get to add your own thing to the Trinity. You know, you've got this, you've got this. Now what is this and this plus Beverly? What is her, you know, what is that voice? What is that voice? That's a whole different voice, that voice. So, and yet, and it's like, I hear her, I hear them, I hear your stories, your information, the way you explain it is no different or less valuable than anything I've ever shared in any video. People need to understand this, you guys. I'm just sharing what I'm getting. That's it. I cannot explain it any better. It's just, I just share what comes out of my throat, what comes out of my heart, what comes out of the words. I will tell you, I will not remember 90% of the words we've shared today. Mm-hmm. What I'll remember is this, the feeling, where we go from here, the next thing that just got created because of this thing now. That's where I'm going to go with that, because something new now got created. And something new now that the three of us created together, but yet this is a whole new you. Like I get so really, I do get goosebumpy.
It's funny because, sorry for
No,
interrupting.
no, please do.
So that character was included in a television series on BBC called The Last Kingdom. So it's just sort of funny that, you know, you're sort of from that area.
I haven't seen The Last Kingdom, so I don't.
A British historical fiction television series adapted from Bernard Cornwell's book series, The Saxon Stories. So the first season was on BBC, and then Netflix after that continued it to at least the fourth season. Has to do with King Alfred the Great and the history of separating kingdoms into what would become England eventually.
So it just so happens to have all this stuff to do with you and the British Isles and England and the kingdom, and there happens to be a TV show about it. And so I will remind everybody, if you're new to my channel and you haven't caught some of our Goddess Fridays, of which most of them Beverly was there, this is part of what we did. Was Dave and I would dress up in different costumes to explain the breadcrumbs, that when you dress up this stuff, you go into costume, we ignite this energy. And how the basis of Goddess Fridays was built upon the idea of movies, television, music, how all of them depict everything that we are, that they are reflections of what we are. When you see this stuff in the background that we have here,
there's a
relics
in the series.
Oh, so this is what she looks like in the series.
Oh, right. I'll have to look. I'll have to see.
Let's put it side by side.
We'll see. Let's go. Let's see how you guys looked at. Let's look. You and Beverly. So see, she and Beverly. Look now. Look, dude.
Was Mercia in England? Was that anywhere near Stonehenge?
Ooh. Well, we'll have to look at them.
Let
her look it up. See, this is how this happens. Maybe we have to remember, you guys, all of this stuff is, we're all oversouls of oversouls of oversouls. There is no reason why you wouldn't be connected to her. Now, let's talk about reincarnation for just a second, you guys. That doesn't mean we are her. She is her. Beverly's Beverly. She's her. But that doesn't mean from an oversoul level, that oversoul didn't create both beings in two different timelines, two different beings, two complete. That's what we're tapping into. So this, no shadow of a doubt, is a being who's part of Beverly's oversoul, who through Dave and through infinite intelligence has received this information to show Beverly more and more of who she is. What it has to do with Dave and I now will be for our exploration as well. Because now we know, because it reminds me of our Goddess Fridays and why we were doing it to begin with, to show everybody TV, movies, all this stuff. It's all you, all you, all you, all you, all the superheroes, all the gods, all the goddesses, all you, all breadcrumbs. Which ones do you identify with when? And what for? And what do you need in that moment? Why? Why do you go see that movie? Why do you identify in that moment with Wonder Woman or Isis or God or the nature spirits or the elementals or the fairies or the why in that moment are you interacting with that idea? It's not your past. That's not your past person. It's not a past version of you. It doesn't work that way.
It's east of Wales, it says.
East of Wales.
South of Wessex or north of Wessex, in Sussex, London.
Now that is strange, actually, you saying that, because in the news a couple of weeks ago.
Here's your map, guys.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Wales have decided that they want their stones back from Stonehenge.
What?
Yeah.
And I have a friend that lives in Wales too, a couple of them.
So that made me laugh because I don't know much about Stonehenge, I'll be honest. You know, it's a monument that everybody around the world knows.
We know a little bit more about it through Bashar events. And I'm going to tell you something weird, Beverly. I did a video. I haven't. Dave's working on it.
That's part of.
Dave's working on it, the editing for me, because it was about Stonehenge and it was about the reasons it was used. It was from the Stone Speakers, of which I channel. I am Speaker New. My very, very first video I ever made. You'll see at the very bottom in the description, it says Speaker New, N-U. Funny you should mention that about the stones, because I did not know that. And it's all about, the video was explaining about the shaddocks, which Stonehenge is, and how it used to have very slivers of stones hanging in between the gaps.
Mm.
And when you touch them a certain way, they would make a certain sound. These are gateways. They're
definitely the gateways.
They're portals, so that you could
They're
travel
portals.
through different dimensions by making.
And Christ went there. Christ visited Stonehenge. He went to England twice.
See?
To be
I didn't
taught
even know that. I didn't even.
Yeah, it was in a book I was reading about that Christ went to England twice to be taught by the people of that time. Well, what do they call them now? The local, like the priests of the time that were to do with Stonehenge. But you see, all that ties into the picture I sent to you.
Yes.
Of the angel over Stonehenge on the eve of the equinox.
Exactly. I remember that. And so that's what's so weird about this is the timing of this, because like I said, he's still working. The reason he has to edit the video is because I was doing it on my phone, and you only get 30 minutes on your phone, so he's got to stitch them together for me. It's not something I normally do, but this was a very interesting explanation. But part of it was because Bashar talked about how these shaddocks were used and how they were used, and literally it was really a weird synchronicity too, because then Dave found these chimes, and they're literally these slivers of agate that are different colors.
Yeah.
Full slivers of real agate stone, and that's what they used to do. So Stonehenge used to be one of these places where that's what you did. You walked through it, but the sounds that it created through that, I think you would go inside, and I don't know if there's someone else on the outside creating. It was like a musical instrument. You talked about, was it before we started recording? You talked about an instrument you just saw that was crystals that were used as a xylophone that are custom made, and they were out of stock. And you wanted to tell me about them. That's part of this. They use these crystals for this information. See, this is what people don't understand. This is what Jesus was learning. That's why he was a master teacher of teachers, because he was learning about that energy, vibration, resonation, how they use crystals. How did they use Stonehenge? He was taught by the local masters everywhere he went.
Yeah. And it was all to do with him ascending.
Yes.
Everything that he was learning was for his ascension. And he had to go through these rituals and learn about them in order for him to ascend. That was what it was all about.
And isn't that what we're doing as masters of limitation? The masters, they keep telling us, you guys are in the master's class. Most people, beings, energies don't have the guts to come here because it's dark, and nobody wants to know what it's like to be separated from God. There are beings who cannot believe that there are beings that don't think they're connected to source. They can't even fathom that. We're here to teach all that is how to go to the deepest, darkest, and come all the way back and tell our stories and live to talk about it. Because in a few years, we're all going to be very much higher vibrational beings, receiving, sending information, cross-channeling all day long with all these different beings, which is happening to all of us now. It's been happening to me for quite some time now, where now there's other beings in other parallel realities who want to know about us. We want to know about them. They're asking about our ascension. There are versions of Earth that have already blown themselves up by nuclear war. If other beings we channel are giving us higher consciousness education to say, you guys don't have to go through that. We're not going to tell you how to live because you get free will, but we're going to offer our perspective on how to offer you guys a different way to see your world so that you would see things from a more powerful position, because you came to feel what it's like to, let's talk about slavery. That's what this is all about. This whole thing about the Exodus and Passover and Jesus, it's all about breaking the chains of your own inner slavery. That's all this is. It's all in your mind.
And perceptions.
And
at this moment in time where we have the internet to share with like-minded people or not, but it doesn't matter what your view is, because every path is different. Your path is different to mine. My path is different to Joe Blogs down the street. If he disagrees with me, that is fine. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And I think more people are now sort of sitting back and relaxing and saying, okay, I can have a different perspective. I can accept your perspective. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. And I think we're moving into that era where people are more able to listen to one another without shouting and having an opinion.
Exactly. Isn't the whole idea of having an opinion is because you feel like you need to sway someone else's thinking? Once you understand it's not about swaying another person's thinking, it's just about being the you that you are and letting anybody who resonates with you, it's not exactly. It is about surrender and allowance. And why is that the hardest thing for us humans to do? Why? I don't, even I still don't understand sometimes. Why is it so hard for me to surrender to what is and allow the path, allow the process? Since the day Dave and I met and I moved in here, I met Dave on a weekend. In person. I met him in AJ. I met him. We hung out with a bunch of other people through an event that I did for the very first time, sharing my light languages. And it was as if the moment I saw them, I knew that there was another life, another parallel reality in which we existed. And yet I had, honest to God, had no way of realizing, no way of even imagining in the relationship that I was already in, that was even a thing. Like it was so the weeks following is when the realization came to be that then I realized what I knew all along and all those things. But the idea that, and if you guys been watching my videos for a while, and the idea that the lifestyle that we're living now, and really form a relationship with a person, and then being in a relationship in this particular circumstance, Dave and I haven't really been alone. I mean, alone, like really even alone in the house at all, but alone outside, really, except for maybe a couple times going grocery shopping or maybe out to dinner just a little for a short time. But it's not a normal circumstance. And yet, I also asked myself, why would we put ourselves in a position where we meet for the first time and start a relationship in a circumstance where we literally have, none of us have any privacy, not really. And then that got into a whole nother discussion about us as humans. and the need for privacy. Why do we want that? And so that's a whole other ball game too. But it started igniting questions about these things, and from a human condition standpoint, I guess is what I want to say. But yet, from my own, why would I create this reality for myself if it's not what I prefer? But yet I have to know and trust. I have to know and trust that following my heart, and that this is the path to my path of least resistance. That even though it looks very zigzaggy and we can't even sometimes see the way out, it's like we just know that I have to, as Bashar says, acknowledge, appreciate, and allow.
Yeah. Well, it is. We don't know our. I mean, all my life I've never known my path. Mine has been a zigzag, backwards, forwards, sideways. And as you know, I've recently left my job. Yeah, it's worrying. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that there's something else coming along. That
I feel
my destiny is somewhere else.
Even my son sent me a message a little while ago. He still lives north of Chicago, and he's like, I have to leave my job. They cut my salary. I can't get unemployment. They denied him unemployment. So it's like, he's got it completely, but again, what often looks like the zigzaggy way is your path of least resistance. Just because you can't see it that way today doesn't mean it isn't. What I have ever thought.
That's where the trust has to come in.
It has to.
The surrender, the belief that there is something else going to happen. Because my life
are the ones who create the reality based upon our vibration of what we believe is possible.
So Bev, tell me when to stop.
So yeah, we should wrap up. It's getting late for her in the UK, and we should get going too, and have ourselves some. We got to feed AJ too. God, are you joking?
It's magic.
Hearing messages from spirit. I am a clear channel for messages from spirit. No more cards need to be drawn today. I thought we were going to do some more King Solomon's, and you know what? Nope.
Well, that's perfect, isn't it?
What else is there to say?
Yeah.
This is so amazing to me.
In case you were doubting anything.
Just in case you guys were wondering, in case any of you were doubting, in case you, Beverly, were doubting. You exude it. And
thank you, St. Thomas.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, St. Thomas. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you.
All our helpers.
All of our helpers. Yes, I'm naming more and more. It's like all of our, as we said today,
all
physical,
reflections. Non-physical
reflections. The diamonds, that whole idea of diamonds has been very strong. We're coming, tomorrow's the beginning of April. The birthstone for April is diamond. Again, happy birthday, all you fire Aries signs out there.
And this one just happened to be also there.
Oh my God. See, you guys can't make this shit up. And it also is a rose, and there was that Lily Rose painting earlier. I accept and embrace my inner majesty, accepting what is. Is that our confirmation message?
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah.
And if we aren't an example of that, I don't know what is. So see, sharing, giving glimpses into all that we are and all who we are. And that is the one thing I have to say about Dave, that from the moment that we've been together, and I mean the moment I crossed this threshold, never once has he ever nothing has ever been off limits for me to share, talk about. If I feel guided, he says, I feel guided, then you're guided for a reason. So there's nothing that we don't have, that we won't share, can't, don't feel comfortable sharing. Anything that we've covered today. If you guys have questions about personally, privately, and Dave and I too are open to do private sessions together if that's what you guys want. I've even asked Dave if he wants to do them all by himself.
For a while.
Just in case, but I really feel by sharing our true life, because the thing is, I work really hard every day. So does Dave. He works hard with me, and I work really hard every day. I'm a human just like everyone else. And I work really, I work
You're
really
an
hard applying these principles every day in my life and asking myself these hard questions, after raising a family, having grown children, why?
Yeah,
Why would
we
I
all do that, don't we? Why?
You know what
Why
I mean? And it's just the whole thing, and to watch the dedication, the unconditional love that I get to witness and have witnessed in the last year and a half is beyond comprehension, you guys. It's like, I can't even describe to you what I get to see every day. And, AJ he has no feeling from here down, right, Dave? So, and he really can't move his head. He also has a brain injury as well as a spinal cord injury. It was in a motorcycle accident. And,
he's got rods in his neck to prevent him
so
from
he
being
can't,
able to
so he has really not much,
a lot with his head.
not much peripheral vision. And he does need to be fed. He needs to be all of that, showered and all of those things, as you can imagine. And I will say, there's a lot of people, I've been shocked, Dave and I too. We didn't even know interabled was a new word, because there's people now putting out videos, interabled couples, meaning one of the couple is either their caregiver, complete caregiver, but they're their husbands, their wives. They're living. This is a thing. This is what people need to understand, that you can have a relationship. You can go scuba diving. You can open yourself to things you never thought possible for yourself. And let's just take this up another notch, just a little bit, that when we open ourselves to the frequencies, to move into a version of reality that is opening to first contact, opening to new technology, we don't know what's in store for him, the new things that are going to be available to him. We don't know what's going to be in store for us, the new things available to us to help him. We don't know what facilities are going to be available. You guys, there's nothing available for him. Nothing. There's nowhere else for him to go, for him to have a life, where I don't know the statistics. Maybe, you'll have to tell me what they are, but I'm telling you, most people in his circumstances do not live at home. They can't. They just can't. They don't have the care, all of the things that are necessary. And one day Dave woke up, and guess what? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So the examples of when things don't go your way, when people don't behave in ways you think that they should or you want them to, everything is a reflection for each other. And yet the unwavering dedication and unconditional love, and this is what I wanted to point out about the interabled couples, is it doesn't matter what's going on in their relationship. They still have to care for each other. That person still has to care for that person. So this is what we're all doing for each other. When we're sharing these things in our stories and our processes, our real lives, it gives us each permission to be the most you can be with what you're given. And as healers and all these things, it's none of your business my business, our business, what anybody does with the information we share. None of our business.
Yeah.
None. It's none of our business when you give somebody a gift, it is theirs to give, do with what they choose. These are our gifts. Nothing more than that. These are our gifts to share with all of you, in that maybe you'll become more aware of something, more enlightened, help your ascension journey. Maybe it shows you a different path. Maybe it makes your life look a little bit better. I've said that many times to Dave. AJ sits most of the time outside in the front getting sunshine because he can't regulate his own temperature. That's always a tricky thing because we never know. Or is he too hot, too cool? He can't feel it when he's hot. So, but the point is, I have many times heard from my own guides, when people are driving by every day in our neighborhood, and we live in just a normal neighborhood, when they are watching AJ sitting out there and he's talking on the phone, and he is able to use his phone with his mouth. That's a long story. Dave will have to explain it all, but because of technology, maybe somebody's driving by going, maybe my day's not so bad after all. So just by him existing and sitting in the driveway, what message is he sending to people every day? And what message is he sent? What message are they sending when Dave's out there helping him and assisting him and feeding him outside and doing these things? Or when AJ's friends come over? AJ has friends come over. He has relationships. Yes, he does. And so we work through all that too. Him having relationships. And how do we work with all those dynamics here in this house? What if we did have somebody living here caring for him full time? All these things are things that we literally deal with and think about every day. But the point is that he has relationships, and now his friends come and start to understand how to help out, shift the wheelchair, feed him, bring food over, enjoy, watch movies with him. All of this is things that I don't think he ever, or even Dave ever considered, that by his allowing his ability and his believing that he could do this, Dave's believing that he could do this, most people are very surprised that AJ lives at home. So it's about you being you, no matter what you're doing, and always being a reflection, and never underestimating your power of just being, existing. Bashar once said something to the effect of, you will never have more impact than you have right now. But as you wake up and ascend, and that's just my throwing in there, you will become more aware of the impact that you already have. And that may be a bitter pill for people to swallow, because they think, oh, I got to do more and be more because I want to have more impact on the world. You can't have any more impact than you already have than just being yourself. That's it. Whatever that self is. And Dave, I'll tell you, he's put up with a lot of the different selves of me as I go through my own belief system and losing and releasing my own limiting belief systems. He'll listen to me ramble for an hour, not say a word, as he watches me move through my process like a fish going upstream. And but that's part of what this is that he wants to experience all these processes with me. I'm telling you what, I lost it this morning. I totally lost it this morning. All of this energy coming in, my whole heart chakra is so wide open, and the comments and the images, and the things that I receive from not only my guides and the channeling, but from you guys personally, privately, on social media, comments on the videos. It's almost sometimes emotionally overwhelming. Like Bev said, it's so big that you understand how little we think we are. It's just so big. And I have had that happen to me, even where Jesus, that energy, I was in meditation one day, and I swear it was like that being came into the room, and it was like weeping. And I said, you need to stand back, because it's almost as if you feel as if you not deserve it, but it's so big that I was like, I can't handle your energy because it's so pure I don't know how to feel in your presence. Like, because it's reminding me of my own light, but our belief system still can't wrap around that. It's a weird thing that happens. So I feel by me sharing my process, our lives, Bev, with you, the things that we've shared, your process, I hope this helps you open up to more that you are, that you come and share more of how your perception and your perspective of infinite intelligence and bringing that out to the world in any way you're guided to do that. I've really been guided to do more, a little bit more writing. And I've got a stack of all these journals and books. And so that's a subject matter for another video, a short video. But so see how my guides give me all of this material to work on. And so it does, they give me ideas and I write them down, and then I allow the universe to bring me what I need to expand upon all the information. And so we were going to do this hangout. When were we going to do this? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. We were going to do this yesterday, and it got late and stuff was happening. And then it was like, nope, it had to be today. It was just perfect. So I wanted.
Do you know what? It couldn't have been yesterday, because with the full moon, I had a headache for 24 hours. It was so intense. It was so strong. I couldn't even bear the sun. I mean, this is the first week we've had sunshine, beautiful weather. And I had to go and lay on my bed, and it lasted 24 hours. And, you know, the energy from the moon was pretty strong.
Do you feel it when you say energy? I just want you to explain to people. So how do you feel? Does it feel like a bad energy? Just when you say the energy, and because I felt like I needed to lay down too. And so I was like.
Well, since the new moon's been coming on, this one, I noticed it last week. I just, like the life was drained out of me, so tired. And there was no reason for me to be tired, but I felt like I'd been on a 10-mile hike. And then as the moon became full, boom, headache. So intense energy around this moon for me. But the moon, I'm a Cancerian. The moon always affects me. But this one was a super moon, so it got to me yesterday. So I'm pleased that we didn't do it yesterday.
Hey, and it's the moon. Actually, Dave and I, we didn't share this the other day, but I forget what night it was already, but we went out and we're looking, literally laying under the moonlight, and fell asleep till like, I don't know, 3 a.m. or something outside. But it was like this whole download of even being bathed in that moonlight energy of the approach of the super moon was. I even told him that. I said, this was intense. I felt like when we were laying there, it was like we were like completely getting downloaded with all of this information. And it has been an intense 48 hours. I can't even describe what I've been feeling. It's like this momentum, this steam.
I'm probably emotional as well. Yes. Very emotional.
That's what I told Dave this morning. I'm like, I'm just such an emotional.
Yeah.
Here,
laughing, it's really quite. I mean, that's
why they call us lunatics, right? At the full moon, right? Lunatics. So
well, one of my friends in my house here, he drives children with special needs to school.
Oh.
And so we were discussing the moon, because yesterday when he came home from work, I said, I've had a terrible headache all day and I'm going to have to go to bed. And so today when we're discussing it, I said the full moon, and he says, oh, tell me about it. Them kids. He says, they always start on a full moon. He says, I'm telling them, don't touch that. Get your head in the window. But it's true. I worked in a school, and when there's a full moon, you know about it. Full moon, or if it's windy. If it's windy as well, the kids just go, wah.
That's funny. We just had a day where it was really windy. I think it was yesterday, and it was like blowing stuff around, and we were sneezing. It was funny that you mentioned that, because spring's coming in, the pollen's coming in the air, and it was just like my nose, and our nose was really stuffy after like laying outside that night. And so it was just kind of funny that you said that, but we're all becoming more sensitive to our celestial friends.
It's said that the full moon magnifies whatever energies you happen to be feeling. So,
True.
you know, even if you're releasing negative belief systems, the full moon aids in releasing it more. So you're going to.
Yeah.
That's so true. You know, I got to tell you guys too, Dave bought these for me. I held them up before, but I wanted to show you guys this because a lot of people have been home, you know, from the virus, and I've been very grateful because a lot of people have been hanging out that would have never hung out before on social, you know, like in Zoom and stuff like this. So this is just a message for all you friends, family, parents out there. So a lot of times when Dave takes AJ to rehab, I'm doing sessions, private sessions, or I'm recording videos. So he bought these for me to hang on the door. Hi, puppy. Hi, baby. Hi,
Bald puppy.
hi, sweetie. Introduce.
Bailey. This is Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
This is my rat bag.
You're so cute.
He's
Aw.
not. Look at my finger. Look, he bit me.
That's because he loves you.
That's what he does. He bites me and then he looks at me as if to say, I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry.
So I want to show everybody these. So all of you bloggers and posters and blog posters and YouTubers out there. So I hang these literally on the door and each one has its own little message. And so recording is like now we're just sort of recording. So he kind of knows that he can come in the room and, you know, because I'm okay with that. Streaming, of course, means we're actually live streaming. So if I'm live streaming, he knows I'm actually live streaming. And we might want to be a little bit more conscious of the noises that go on. And then, of course, we've got the on air, which these came first, actually, and then he found the live streaming. So we also have our on airs. So for all of you parents and people out there who want to get into this YouTube thing, and maybe you don't have privacy, find a place, find a space, find a room anywhere. Doesn't need to be anything special, and hang it on the door. You got to go in the bathroom. Go in the bathroom and close the door and hang this on the outside so everybody knows, don't bother me.
I need them.
That's why I showed them to you, my friend, because something said somebody else needs this. And you know what?
Yeah.
You're in a very good position. You live in a place where you offer other people a home to live in. You have a type of boarding situation. Very unique, very useful.
Yeah.
Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Amazon.
A couple dollars each.
And he really very inexpensive. And it was, but I'm telling you.
Or you can make your own. I mean, there's
And so now, and he knows, depending on the color of the on the air, whether or not he can come in the room or not. Red means no, black means yes.
Wait, I thought it was black means.
So, but this is just one of the fun things. And this is something he surprised me with. But useful, beneficial. Yes. It's about honoring someone's space. It's not about setting boundaries, but it's about embracing your own. It's not really about separation, you guys. It's about allowance. So, any parents out there, any kids who are watching, you know, give your parents some time, you know, and a lot of parents are homeschooling. Oh my God. You know, they need a little private time, mom. You know, there's probably one out there that says mom's taking a bath, you know, but
mom off duty.
You know what? I told Dave to look for one that said like with a meditation person, like, in, you know, so you know, just to have fun with it, but to show people I'm serious about my spiritual journey. Because you set an example for someone to be equally empowered, especially your children. It's getting dark in here. So we're going to go. I'm going to let her go to bed. And I love you so much, Beverly. Thank you, my friend, my mentor,
Love you.
teacher. It's been such wonderful. I'm so happy Bailey showed up. Thank you, my Ranger element. Thank you so much, and love you, Ranger, for all of the videos you did with me. If you guys are new to my channel, Ranger was 8 years old. He transitioned on the day after Christmas of 2020, just this last one, and really unexpectedly. I really thought I had a lot more time with him, but you know what? He brought me to where I needed to be. He even told me that in his transition. He's like, Mom, I did my service. This was our agreement, that I brought you where you needed to be. I guided you, and he guides me every day. I still talk to him. He tells me things. So be open to that. Be open to your animals. More and more of us, as we understand, as we open up to our psychic abilities, our animals are the first things we're going to hear messages from. So no, you're not crazy. Yes, they do talk. So do the plants. The plant kingdom rules, you know, it's our vibration that needs to raise up to the plants, not the other way around. So when you're
Well, they
out,
were here before us.
and they will be here long after us, and they are our teachers and our students. So I could talk forever because this is what I love to do. Just speak your joy. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close out? Besides, I love you.
I love you. Thank you for this co-creation. It has been my honor to be part of your every moment.
Yes, and he tells me that every day. Thank you I look forward to spending another day with you, and I'm honored to be part of your every moment, and I'm grateful for every moment. And he does a blessing every meal and includes that in the meal, and includes me and all of that. So revere each other, revere the time that you have with each other, and honor each other. And is there anything you'd like to add, Beverly, before we close out? I could talk forever.
Yeah, no,
I know.
Another time.
I
It's been
know.
lovely. Thank you.
No more. And thank you for joining us today and being with us. And thank you for doing it scared and coming out of your comfort zone. And this has been amazing for me. And so we look forward to more interactions like this with all of you. And if any of you want to share your stuff, your story, your process, we're always open to that. We're going to be doing more and more hangouts. We've started a few other YouTube channels as well, that we're going to be branching things out and sharing things in a little different ways, that are sort of an extension of the languages of lights and open contact. And so I look forward to all of that. We love you very much. We love you, Bev. Until another time, mahala, shalom, namaste. Niakoshe feseo somontola keshe, saite ki gia sose samotove shehi lanate. In grace, gratitude, and honor. Much love.